Hello, everybody. Welcome to Pharmaceutical Soccer. I am so happy to be back with you. It's been a few weeks. Of course, Valer Shabila and Clay Trainham have both been extremely busy, just like I have been extremely busy, because it's World Cup time.
Is
So
this the longest break in the history of Pharma Soccer?
I don't think it's the longest break in
It's
the
pretty
history.
close, though. I mean, it's almost a month.
I think the COVID season was the only
That's fair.
time we took
Yeah,
a longer break.
I
But
think we took like a month in that one. Like there was one where we were just like, there's nothing to
I,
talk about.
I would say post-COVID, this is definitely the longest.
Yeah, and it's been just ridiculously, like, just timing wise, like Valer obviously traveling for World Cup stuff. I had the two busiest weeks of work in my existence where I'm traveling the entire time. Clay is hating on South Beach. Like, it's just been crazy for us.
I will say the crazy thing about a World Cup is that there's something happening every day.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so, like, we're like, oh, we'll wait till tomorrow. And then, like, 5 things happen the next day. And it's like, well, never mind. Like, our entire outlook has changed on the basis of this one day.
Except yesterday, because like part of the reason we're recording this episode on Monday, June 29th, is because of the fact, well, we're doing it earlier, is because of the fact we have 3 matches to go today. Except Sunday, it was just the worst World Cup match of the entire tournament that was played in Canada and South Africa. So
there have been worse. There have been worse.
I don't know about that. Even
This
like
World
there was
Cup
an
has
extra
been fairly
time. There was an
interesting.
extra time winner, and it didn't go to overtime. So there have been worse. Or there was an added time winner, stoppage time winner, and it didn't go to overtime. If it went to overtime, then maybe we're talking about something.
But like even like Spain Cabo Verde was more entertaining than that South Africa Canada match, in my opinion.
I think Cabo Verde was amazing. I was there for that.
Yes, you would. Thank you, Valer.
We'll let Valer talk about his experiences in a minute. But first, Stephen, how was your last 3 weeks?
Great. I had a great so Valera's going to have different opinions of Philadelphia than I'm going to have of Philadelphia when it comes to attending a World Cup match, just because Valera has been spoiled now for the past year doing 615 soccer stuff, and now is just spoiled all the time now. But it like Philly, it was great. Like I'm honestly just sitting here refreshing tickets just because like I'm obsessed with the feeling of being in a World Cup experience. Like just everybody, it's almost like when you pay that much for a ticket, everybody is locked in in the same way, shape, or form. It is just everybody is there specifically. We paid this much for the event, so we're going to be there. They opened up doors 4 hours before the match even started. That place was full 3 hours before the match started. Just people going to the fan zone in the stores. Like the whole experience itself has just been absolutely incredible. And I'm glad that like I at least got to be a part of it in some way, shape, or form.
No, I totally agree. And I wrote a little bit about this for 615soccer.com. So go check out my article if you haven't already. And hopefully there'll be a couple more follow-ups to that I'm going to try to work on when I'm not super busy. But I totally agree. I think the experience of sitting there and having everybody around you know what's going on. And it's not like, oh, they're all soccer experts. No, it's just like they are interested in the thing that's happening in the city, in the country. It's something that I have never experienced in the US, 17 years of living here. I have never experienced this sort of unifying thing, and especially not for soccer. So it was really cool to see, like Stephen will talk about Philadelphia, but this is happening all across the US. Maybe we don't feel it as much here in Nashville simply because we're not hosting a World Cup game. But I mean, obviously the soccer pockets have existed in the US since the early 1900s, whatever. But I'm talking about a general, the way I described it in my article is like a water cooler conversation. Like soccer has never been that in the US really, or
Right.
it's had maybe a moment or two throughout its history in the US. And now we're seeing it at like this prolonged period where it is. And it feels amazing. I'm getting texts. I'm getting all sorts of messages and questions and from people who maybe aren't as familiar as we are or as familiar as anybody listening to this are with the sport. My family's all in. Like, my sister was like watching Congo and Uzbekistan with us. Like, my sister didn't watch soccer. You know what I mean? Like this is kind
And
of
now
the
she's
vibe.
watching Congo and Uzbekistan.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like really cool to see that happening, and I'm fully in it. And obviously, my first 2 weeks of the tournament were incredible because I was traveling around the U.S. and more on that a little bit later. But I do think there's a feeling here that we should cherish and we should appreciate. And I know why Steven is looking at tickets now, because once you go to one of those, you're like, I want a little bit more. Unfortunately, the cost of entry is so high that it has priced out most people in this country and in most countries in the world. And
Right.
that's the unfortunate part of it, you know, and it has priced out the legit 90% of the world's population, probably, if not more. And that's very much the sad part of all of this. I will say, if you can't afford to go to the game, try to find those pockets I was talking about, because just being around people during this time is incredible. And me, Steven, and Clay were together for the 2018 World Cup, the 2022 World Cup, at least for like a game or two or something along those lines, you know? So it's always good to at least meet up with some people. And I think that kind of brings out the vibes a little bit more.
It is a community sport. It's a sport of, you know, outside of the U.S., it's a working class sport. In the U.S., it's a working class sport, but it's a working class sport demographic with huge, large demographic differences. I think is the best way to say that. I am one of the people that can't afford to go to a World Cup match. Just it is what it is, and I've enjoyed watching it, but there is a part of me that will always have a what if in my mind about the people that I live around, who have watched the sport for so long and can't go to games. And in a sport where a lot of us, that's the only season ticket we have, partially because soccer is the affordable sport to watch as a pro sport in America. And a lot of the people who sit around me at NSC matches are people that have kept this sport going at times when it wasn't very popular. And so there is part of this World Cup that is always going to sit with me as it was really cool to be in the US and it would have been cooler to be a part of. And that doesn't take away from the fact that I'm enjoying it and that I've watched most of the matches and I'm locked in, because it is what it is. I mean, there was a John Oliver bit several years ago about the World Cup and how much he hates FIFA and how much he's going to watch every single match, and he can't deal with that. And so
Right.
so that is part of it. And obviously there's a lot of, we are very excited about the World Cup. We're going to talk about the World Cup a lot on this show, as you may expect, but it doesn't mean that we also don't understand the other things that are going on around it. Obviously, there's a lot of things going on. We talked about it in our last show. And so please do not take this as me like poo-pooing it. I enjoy it. I was just telling, about how the match yesterday wasn't that bad. It wasn't the worst match ever. Like I'm excited about it, but it is one of those things where it is just a real bummer that it's something that I can't experience.
And also the inverse of that, we're not going to keep saying, we know there are issues with the World Cup.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to keep saying that, but I'm excited. I'm very excited about this. I'm very happy about this. That doesn't mean I'm dismissing the real problems that are occurring to this World Cup, including some problems that my own team experienced. You know what I mean? Like I'm not dismissing those, but at the same time, it's not black and white. It's not black and white. If you put on the USMNT jersey or any jersey of the national team, you're not supporting that government. You're not supporting that, every bad things that ever come out of any country. So just keep that in mind, I guess.
I think it was really funny, even like when I was in Philly, you were talking about like the education of like, not everybody knows like the ins and outs of like every team like we do, but they're still there to just enjoy the moment. There was a couple guys in Ghanaian jerseys next to me as I was sitting there, and every time Thomas Partey took the ball on, I was booing the entire time. And so at halftime, for reasons of just Google it, he is a POS, just Google it. But he can't play in Canada, if that helps in any way, shape, or form. But they turn to me and they're like, hey, why are you booing? Like at halftime, they turn to me being like, hey, why are you booing number 5? Does he have a personal vendetta against, like, do you have some sort of personal vendetta against him? And I'm like, no, he's POS, all that type of stuff. Google it. They did. They're like, oh, well, now we're going to boo him with you. This is great. And they're still wearing Ghanaian jerseys. It's not necessarily like, there's so many different problems, Federate. Again, there's so many different problems with so many of these teams in the World Cup, but it is crazy just when the positives of it all, of the community, like we forget about almost the community aspect as we are leading up into it, right? Like we're going through all the problems, all the pricing problems, all of the FIFA problems, all the political problems that have encompassed this World Cup specifically. But we always forget how much the community and the soccer community itself just makes this tournament so special. And it's been truly so much fun.
Anyway, so my weekend, I went to see Hamilton, and we adopted 2 kittens,
I saw that.
Rabona and Nutmeg.
Oh, love that.
Marry a
Love
soccer
that.
player, you get to get soccer moves for cat names. So
Love
so
that.
there you
Who
go.
picked the names?
Well, let's just say I had some influence. I was going for Regista and Libero
Regista's crazy.
because you could call them Reggie and Libby, but yeah, Regista and Libero is what I was going for. But Rabona and Nutmeg is what I knew Mary would agree with. So
What's the pets total now in your house?
2.
Okay.
Our other cat passed away a few months ago.
R.I.P.
So
What was the name?
we did think about like Roy and Keeley. That was in the mix because Mary does love her some Ted Lasso. But there's a whole list.
Well,
There's a
I
whole
just
list.
I think, the new cat's got a shout out. R.I.P. to the last cat. Let's get a name out here. What's the name of the cat?
Oh, the last cat?
Yeah.
Seneca.
Okay. Well, we
Yeah.
just gotta make it fair here.
Valere did cat sit Seneca
One
twice?
time. One time.
Once.
And it is generally one of the scariest experiences of my life. I don't like taking care of pets. I don't like taking care of anybody else's belongings. Yeah, it's a weird thing.
Anyway,
I'm aware.
So now that we've gone through this whole World Cup thing and just talked about it in general, Valere had a very different experience than both Steven and I had, because Valere was watching his team play in a World Cup for the first time in 40 years. And not Valere's first time in 40 years. He's not 40 years old. But
I
even
do
though
have
he looks it sometimes.
I have one small bone to pick with Valere when it comes to this, and I wanted to specifically bring it up on air because I'm a little mad at you. Even though it was heartwarming and awesome to see, I am a little mad at you. How long were you holding your phone to your face to be influencer level to actually shoot you reacting to the goal? Because
I have an answer to this. Okay. I said to myself that I'm going to get one video of me reacting to something to add to my video later, and then I'll put my phone down and just watch the game. So I pull my phone up, and we start I didn't expect us to attack this much, okay? Keep that in mind. I expected us to sit back and then maybe have a couple of runs, and I was like, I'll record my face as we're making those couple of runs, and I have the other camera on my chest recording what's in front of me, right? And I was like, this will be good content. I'll get my content out of the way, and I'll just watch the game for the rest of it. Well, we kept attacking, and I kept having my phone out. It was in my hand. So I just filmed it. And then at one point I was just like, I'm just going to keep this recording because it was me and my friends. And while I was recording all 4 of us, and then as you can see in the goal, I was not recording all 4 of us. My hand was tired because we kept attacking again. So I was excited about that. Was not thinking about the phone recording. I did clear my entire storage before heading on this trip, by the way, for this purpose, because I was like, I'm going to take a lot of videos. It was the reaction when I looked at my phone in that video. By the way, if you haven't seen the video, go to my socials. You'll very clearly see it. When I looked at my phone, I was looking to see if I was even recording. And then when I realized I was recording mid-celebration, I just continued. I don't know. I blacked out. It was a crazy time. I will tell you this. It was halftime is when I picked up my phone again. And I was like, it's halftime. I got internet. I'm going to post this video really quickly. And then I can put my phone down and watch the second half. Because at that time, I thought we still had a chance, right? So I post the video, but I don't watch it or listen to it. I just post it. And then like hours later, I'm talking about like I'm at the hotel. It's like 1 or 1:30 in the morning. I'm watching the Jordan Austria game. I think it was on at the time. And I'm like getting a lot of likes and whatever. Like people are liking the video. So then I play it and I hear myself and I'm like, what the hell did I just put on the internet? I was like, I was like, I would have never in a million years have posted this video if I listened to it before I posted it. I would have never posted that video. My voice has never hit those levels in the past. I've never in my life experienced this. So, I'm getting messages from like family and friends. They're like, same, bro. Like I had the same reaction, but like they're all like laughing, and I'm like, yeah, I have embarrassed myself on the internet. But you know what? At that point, had just everybody has seen it, and I was like, I'm not taking this down. It is what it is. This is how I sound when Iraq scores. I guess I don't
Yeah.
know. It's like our second ever World Cup. It's not like it is this our second ever World Cup goal in the history of the country. Like it's not like I was celebrating, just a goal. This is like a very important moment in my life. So I was like,
Well,
you know
and
what, it stays up.
I mean, your team scored one during the entire tournament, and it was that goal. You know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
I would go
Exactly.
insane as well. So
Can
from go ahead, Clay.
I was just saying, well, so I went back. We're going to revisit our predictions
Oh no.
in the second segment. But Valer was a little bit annoyed at Steven and I for just crapping on Iraq. And can I just say that I want to say that those score lines of those games were a little bit misleading.
Thank
I
you.
think I think
Extremely.
I think the Norway game was actually a really good performance. I think the fourth goal was offside, and I think that the Iraq made mistakes that a team playing in its first World Cup in 40 years will make. And I think they actually did fine. So
Thank you for that.
I just want to say I enjoyed watching the Norway game, and I felt it was a little bit. You're just a little bummed out because if he scores the goal right before the second half, who knows what happens there?
The Norway game was our only chance. I truly feel that, like, to get any result, and we weren't far from it. 4-1 does not represent the game, and it's just unlucky that our first World Cup in 40 years ended up with Mbappe and Haaland and Sadio Mane, and like, it's
Keep
just
going. Eventually, you get to Element and Jai.
yeah. I was gonna say Element Jai. That was on my end. I was sitting 3 rows up behind the goal when he scored that. I thought of you immediately.
Yeah,
Of course
I,
you did.
he
I
hadn't
just thought
played the
about
whole
Clay.
World Cup until that game, and then got a goal and an assist.
Yeah, man.
But playing a man
It's
up,
tough.
yeah.
I will say, just to make an NSC reference to it, like too, I think Ahmed Kassem looked really good. Like in his times that he was playing, I think it's really unfortunate, but yeah, he looked really good as well.
I'm gonna sound like a hater. He was alright. Uh, no, it's just like I think. First of all, he had a meteoric rise. What is pronounce it
Meteoric.
for me? There it is. That one. Um, because this man had his first cap a week before the World Cup started, and then proceeded to start 2 World Cup games, which is wild. I applaud him for the coach, for making the coach believe in him because Iraq, despite what issues we have throughout the pitch, winger positions and wide out positions are one of our strongest depth place positions. So seeing him kind of rise to that was actually really cool, and seeing him feature in the World Cup was cool, and then seeing him start was even cooler. I think he was just not on the same wavelength as everybody else, and I don't think that was on him. I mean, I wouldn't even count the Senegal game. Honestly, he got subbed out because of the red card, not because of anything he did. The France game, he struggled, but the entire Iraq squad struggled. I did think in the second half of the France game, he had probably his best little stretch there when the Iraqi team put in similar players to him on the pitch and kind of were playing as because the game was already kind of gone at that point, play more freely. I think that looked much better for him. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think this experience was something that will help him, if anything.
And it's the upside of a World Cup starting while you're in midseason.
Right.
Like he's able to, I mean, he's not on the same wavelength because he hasn't played with these people before, but he's at least coming in soccer playing form, having been playing regularly for a couple months as opposed to after a little bit of a break. But
And in about 7 months, the Asian Cup kicks off in January of 2027. I would say that he will probably be on that squad as well. And Iraq has a much better, fairer chance there.
we're going to talk about the Asian Confederation here in a little bit. I'll tell you that much.
Well,
Yeah.
let's Blair, just from your side of things, just because I think it splits up into two sides. And obviously we could just sit here and chit chat specifically about random World Cup things for the next hour and a half, but I don't know specifically. I think we should break it up a little bit. Valer, as what was the difference between being a fan and a journalist, being able to cover this World Cup specifically? Because you did get two completely different yet incredible experiences like that you got to live through this time.
Yeah, the journalist part was all in Atlanta, which has become one of my favorite cities. I've liked Atlanta. I've always liked Atlanta. Don't get me wrong. I've gone there for a long time, like for events or whatever. So I've been there a lot. But I stayed about total 5 days there to cover the three games, the three group stage games, and I have loved it even more now. I think it's really nice, and it's just the people are so nice, especially compared to Philadelphia. Because my God, but but no, they are nice. I think I felt a little bit like at home because there's that southern part to it. It's a southern city, and I think I feel pretty comfortable in southern cities now, and I say now, you know, I think it's nice, and what makes it one of the best sort of experiences is that stadium. Which, if anybody listening hasn't been to Mercedes-Benz Stadium
Arguably
or
the best
Atlanta
stadium in the
Stadium, whatever it's
country.
called
It's
now,
so good.
Yeah.
please go. It is the best stadium I've been into. I haven't been to SoFi, so I haven't seen that side. I know a lot of people say SoFi is the best stadium, but for me, Mercedes-Benz Stadium is literally the best stadium I've been to. It's the most beautiful stadium I've been to, and the concession prices are cheap, so that makes everything better. Not that I had to pay for it, because again, another thing that makes Atlanta great is that Arthur Blank said, you know what? The media folks, they don't have to pay for food because FIFA makes you pay for food. And not that that makes me, that I don't go looking for that necessarily, but it's a nice touch. It is a nice touch. And I think we should appreciate that. I should say that out loud, that a lot of my fellow journalists do not get this treatment elsewhere.
Just a note from the media relations side of things. Back in the day, if we were hosting an event and we wanted media at it, the number one way that we could get people to come down from Nashville or come up from Indianapolis, wherever it may be, would be to tell them that there was free food. Free
It helped.
food goes a long way with
Yeah.
any media, no
Yeah.
matter what it is, because a lot of media people, respectfully, Blair, look like me. So, so tell me there's some free food. It is enticing.
That helped, but honestly, just the stadium
Yeah.
itself, the
Yeah.
way that the fact that it's indoors helps too, um, and just the city of Atlanta embracing the World Cup made me really excited about this. But as a journalist, I will tell you it's a little different covering teams that you aren't familiar with as much. We watch Nashville SC every week. We sometimes twice a week, sometimes three times a week. I go to trainings often. I am constantly talking to BJ Callahan and the players and everybody and like the media folks at Nashville SC. Going from that to like South Africa, Czechia, which I can identify a good amount of players on both sides, but I don't know them. It was a little different. Now, I didn't have to write a whole lot. I was also there as getting some content, mostly fan content for First Touch and Kickback Soccer Media. So I didn't have to do as much journalistic like writing, I guess, but just had to be there and feel, which made me enjoy the moment more. I feel like because I just kind of took in the vibes more than anything.
So here's a question for you. Now I'm spacing on the guy's name, but he's based in Nashville. And when we had the U.S. Olympic qualifiers, as a journalist, he took great pride in this. Is he would ask certain people like Jurgen Klinsmann and whatnot, Terrence Boyd, questions in German, knowing that he would be the only one getting the quotes because he was the only guy there that spoke German. And given the games you had and what you're hoping to get, is there part of you that is like kind of upset you haven't been able to do questions in Arabic? Like, how
I
much is that on your bucket list now that you want you want to do an Arabic press conference?
So it's been on my bucket list for Nashville SC specifically because we've had a couple of Arabic speakers come through, and I finally got to do a little bit of Arabic with Ahmed Qasim before he left. So that kind of that served that purpose. If I had gone to the mixed zone with the Saudi Arabia players, I could have asked them that. But to be honest with you, the mixed zone, the way they
You
do it
were
in
there for
FIFA,
Spain.
yeah, I would love to ask an Arabic question for a Spanish player. That would be funny. But but no, FIFA started like they had restrictions over which mics to use, so I couldn't even use my mic anymore. And I was like, you know what? I don't even want to go to the mixed zone anymore. But that said, um, it was on my bucket list to have a Nashville SC player speaking Arabic, and I got Ahmed Qasim to do it on record. So I will take that. My next mission is to get Patrick Hasback to do it. So we'll see what happens there. He said he speaks a little bit, but I don't know. Qasim said a little bit as well, but he seems to know a little bit more than I thought. So I don't know. Maybe they're holding it back.
I love it. Well, look, we still have a ton of World Cup to talk about. A lot. We got to go into our predictions and see how we did just because it's been a few weeks. Still got a lot to talk about when it comes to just our experiences watching the World Cups in general and some of our favorite matches. We're going to do that all next right here on Pharmaceutical Soccer. And we are back right here on Pharmaceutical Soccer at Pharma Soccer, of course, on our Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. You heard Valer talk about covering some of these matches in Atlanta. Well, guess where you can see all of that? That's on 615soccer.com. And
well, Blair was covering it for two different things. So
that's
Soccer
right.
Media as well, but
Sorry.
615soccer.com for the purposes of this podcast.
I was mainly specifically trying to plug 615 Soccer.
I'm just trying to help Valer out.
That's
And
perfectly fine.
By the way, we are part of the 440 network now, and we have 2 shows. So later this week, you might hear, if you want more World Cup content, you will have it. You'll have a podcast with probably Ben Wright and probably Braden. I don't know. Maybe others will join. Who knows?
Which, by the way, how are we doing in comparison in the goal draft at the current moment? Because it's been
Messi's carry job for me right now is unbelievable.
Yeah,
Messi's giving me a great carry job.
We let Braden have both
Erling Haaland.
Mbappe and Erling Haaland, both against my team. And I will never forgive myself for that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, which, by the way, mind you, and I did it specifically to spite Valer. So, Valer, it's semi my fault, so I apologize for that. Because
you took Kai Havertz from me, and I will never forgive you either.
He also took Christian Pulisic, who's played 1.5 games.
We still have an entire knockout to go. Thank you very much. And
that's the reason Erling Haaland fell so low, is because
entire knockout. Ooh, I want to hear Steven. Like, how far do you think the U.S. will go?
Corner.
I will say at least all but one of my players on my goal draft has scored. It's just Messi has scored a lot. He scored more than everybody else.
Well, the moral of the story is go to 615soccer.com because there's a lot of content there, World Cup and otherwise. And also you can see where the goal draft is, which is, if you don't know what we're talking about, us 3 and the other show. They have 3 as well. The other show being Club and Country.
The other guys.
The other guys.
I was on that show. Okay,
can we fight for it to that be the name of it? Is the other
show?
The other guys now.
Texting Braden right now. Hey, bro. Can you be the other show? um, anyway, go there, listen to them, listen to us, give us 5-star ratings. We'll read them on here if you go with 5 stars. How'd I end up doing that?
Pharmaceuticalsoccer.com as
Oh,
well for
that one.
merchandise because we have merch there too. So make sure you do check that out. That's normally why I just do the plug because it doesn't
Right.
get interrupted and all that type of stuff. But
Okay, I will stop interrupting you.
I
we
won't.
know that's not the truth, but I
Yeah,
do
you're right. I'm
appreciate
not gonna stop interrupting you.
I appreciate the sentiment. Okay, look. So as you know, a few weeks ago when we recorded our last episode, I missed you guys, by the way. This has been fun to actually do and
Long
kind of
episode.
come back. We did some predictions specifically from a pharmaceutical soccer side. We collectively pooled our knowledge together to predict what was going to happen in the World Cup. Clay, do you want to oh my gosh. He has a full notebook and everything ready to go.
Got stats, bro.
Let's go through it. Let's recap it then.
So,
How do
all right.
you want to
All right.
organize it?
So, just off the top of your head, how many of the 32 teams do you think we got right?
I think we got 22.
Yeah, I'm thinking around like 75%.
We got 26.
Oh,
Not
nice.
bad.
We
Not
did
bad.
okay. We did
Not bad.
okay. Now we did get a lot of groups wrong, but we got 1, 2, 3. We got 4 of the groups bang on right, all 4 in order.
Let's go. Okay.
And then we got another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then in 6 of the groups, we had 2 of them swapped. So first and second, or second and third is usually where it was, which makes sense.
And then
So-
some of them just had their worst team collapses of all time to
I'm getting
completely
there.
mess everything up.
I'm getting there. So I will say one of the things, you know what, I'll get to that in a second. I'm just going to go through it, make it simple. So in the case of Group A, we had Mexico finishing first. Then we had Czechia, South Korea, South Africa. So obviously South Africa finished second in that group.
And literally that was my entire, like, I have a good place in my heart for South Africa. I was really excited that they took second in the group, but I also had tickets to that game on Sunday, and I'm just like, I had no idea that South Africa was even going to be close to making it into second place. None.
Well, you did call it the worst game in history, so I mean,
also true.
I will say we were not hot. We were maybe a little too high on Czechia, but South Africa did show up and play like the worst match of the entire opening group stage in the first one. So that felt good. Second group, we got bang on Switzerland, Canada, Bosnia, Qatar. So we all agreed that Switzerland was going to win that. So hey,
Yep,
is what it is. Now in Group C, I fought hard for Scotland, and we swapped Morocco and Brazil. We had Morocco winning the group, Brazil finishing second, Scotland third, Haiti fourth. I fought hard for Scotland, but Scotland was a garbage.
Yeah, they were not good.
They
Not
still
good,
finished
mate.
third, though, right?
Yeah, they did. And then the U.S., we got it wrong because Valère was really high on Turkey. He wanted Turkey to win the group.
I didn't want Turkey to win the group. I just thought they would win the group. And they didn't, clearly. They finished last, and they are out. They were the second team to exit the tournament after Haiti.
Yeah, so we had it as U.S., Turkey, Australia, Paraguay. So got that one wrong, fellas.
Which, mind you, that was a team that in the first 2 matches had 65 shots with 0 goals.
Yeah.
That is insane behavior.
It's yeah.
I've watched a different Turkish player do that in the Premier League for Everton for a few years. So shout out to Cenk Tosun. In Group E, we had Germany finishing first, but we had Ecuador and Cote d'Ivoire, the Ivory Coast, swapped. So we had Ecuador finishing second, Ivory Coast third, but they were swapped and Curacao was last. Group F, we had nailed on Netherlands, Sweden, Tunisia, or Netherlands, Japan, Sweden, Tunisia. We had
Mind you,
high
it is a team game, but I do feel like I was one that wanted Cote d'Ivoire second and Ecuador third. I'm just saying.
Go
we're
back
gonna
and look.
get to something here in a minute, Stephen, and don't you worry, I'm getting there.
Okay.
Group G, again, kind of close. Belgium, but we had Egypt and Iran swapped. And honestly, considering the way that Egypt-Iran game played out,
Yeah.
we're pretty good about that. And then Group H, the shame of that episode was how adamant Valera was about Uruguay. We don't even need to talk about it. Uruguay's definitely second. We don't even need to talk about it. We just need to talk about third and fourth in this group. That's almost word for word what Valera said.
Yeah, they let me down. They let me down. And look at what I'm wearing. If you're a Capo member, you get to watch this, by the way.
But the craziest thing
I'm wearing
about
their
that
colors.
segment, listening to that segment, the craziest thing is Valera and I were both kind of on Cabo Verde making it as a third place team.
Yeah.
And then we both completely abandoned that position when it got to doing the third place. Like Steven said one thing and Blair and I just went, all right, that's fine. And like didn't even.
I did have him finish above Saudi Arabia. Did we end up actually doing that in our
the only thing we
I
had
did
swap
have
was
that.
yeah.
Okay.
And then Group I. So this one's interesting. So I fought really hard for Senegal and to be second, and they were third. But in fighting really hard for Senegal, and this is what I was getting to, what I said was that we had no African teams finishing in the top two, and we had already gotten to Group I. And I was like, we can't just keep doing this. We can't keep putting an African team third because they will outperform. Like, it doesn't make sense. And now here we are. And I was wrong about this. I was wrong about this because Senegal finished third. But 9 of the 10 African qualifiers made it to the knockouts.
Which is insane, by the way.
Which
It's
also
really
now
unreal
thinking
number.
back of it, we picked Morocco to be in first place over Brazil. So we did
Well,
pick
I
an
meant
African.
like I was talking about we hadn't picked anybody. Like that was the only one. I mentioned that. That was the only one.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
I was just saying we were constantly putting them third and the European or South American team second. And that's how this group worked out. So I was wrong on the group we were talking about, but my point was correct. And so, because I just listened to this all back on the way to work this morning to just kind of like, oh, how did we do? And so, anyway.
Shout out Tunisia.
Yeah, Tunisia. Group J, nailed it. Argentina, Austria, Algeria, Jordan. I fought pretty hard for Austria, but we ended up going that way. Mm-hmm. And then Group K, we had Colombia and Portugal switch. Who would have figured that Portugal, like Ronaldo, let someone else take a free kick and suddenly Portugal's a lot better? Like
it's crazy how that works.
I was considering Colombia for that first spot, to be honest with you. So
yeah,
I don't think we're that far.
We definitely just said we were okay with Uzbekistan because of the coach. That was our justification on that, which he wasn't the coach that qualified him, which maybe we should have thought about. And then Group L, we had nailed on. England, Croatia, Ghana, Panama. The 8 that we chose for third place were Scotland, Norway, South Korea, Egypt, Algeria, Bosnia, Cote d'Ivoire, and Ghana. So 6 of the 8 that we chose did make the knockouts. They just didn't make it as third place teams. So all in all, not bad, fellas.
Not terrible.
Not terrible. Not better bad. Than I thought. Better than I thought.
We didn't necessarily have like a ton of upsets though. Like kind of picked. We kind of stayed pretty close. Some of the second and third ones, I guess maybe.
But like we were arguing about Cabo Verde and DR Congo, like they were in the conversation. And so like those are 2 teams like we did all right for just being a soccer show in Nashville. I'm just saying. It's not bad, fellas.
Do you have the data for the things where we picked like Golden Boot and all that?
Do you have our prop bets for?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even. I was so concerned with this.
Next episode, we'll go through those.
Well, I was gonna say because there's still time to play on that one.
Right. I just wanted to see what I picked because I forgot, to be honest with you.
I think you picked Kai Havertz.
I did pick Kai Havertz. I know that one. I don't know what I picked for the rest of this. But no, this is good. 27, you said, out of 32?
26.
26.
26 out of 32. I'll take that. That's a really
Yeah.
good success rate. Yeah.
Yeah, the ones we missed are, I don't feel bad about missing, like South Korea and Uruguay, teams that should have played better.
That's
You know.
81%, dude. That's really good.
Yeah.
We should have put money on this.
There's your World Cup date on our predictions.
We should have, because the real life money I've put on the World Cup has gone awful. By the way, it's just extremely terrible. I should have been done.
I'll tell you what, though. The one thing I felt the most confident about, which was U.S. and Australia being a scoreless draw, absolutely did not happen. So, I'm perfectly fine that I didn't bet, because after the U.S. won that first game, I'm like telling everyone this is going to be a scoreless draw.
Well, so this is the first 48 team tournament that has happened so far, right? In the World Cup specifically. Obviously, FIFA did it for money, but it does lead to some pretty interesting matches and stuff coming into the knockout stage of the tournament. And there's a lot to look ahead to. First of all, shout out Argentina for making the final already. I don't know how you got that draw specifically. It's insane how they have gotten that draw and who they face going into it. Just nuts. But, I mean, we have a chance for France, Germany in the round of 16. We have a chance for Spain.
Which we did have in our predictions, by the way. We had France, Germany in the round of 16 in our predictions, so we got that.
Nuts. So many things to look forward to in the knockout rounds. What are you guys most excited for kind of coming up into the knockout? Is there a specific matchup that you're excited for? I have one that I'm really excited for if it happens in the round of 16. Go ahead, Clay.
I was just say let's compartmentalize this a little bit.
Okay.
Because Valera less so, but you and me are probably most excited about how the US is gonna do.
Yes.
I'm excited about that.
I know, but you're
not as much you guys.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's literally what he said.
So
I got myself. It's
yeah.
okay.
So
keep on.
That's obviously the first one, because the U.S., despite the fact that the U.S. has made a semifinal in the history of the World Cup, albeit 96 years ago, they've only ever won one knockout game, and so it does set up kind of an interesting situation for the U.S. I don't think Bosnia is the most obvious, absolutely going to smoke them, but the U.S. is better than this Bosnia team, so I'm looking forward to it. And there is a potential that they can face Belgium in the round of 16 again, which is interesting. Although I say this as an absolute partisan when it comes to Romelu Lukaku and this Belgian team for the last 12 years, because I love Kevin Morales too, really take it back. I find everyone just naturally assuming Belgium's going to win and be in the round of 16 to be a little bit funny, because Belgians have not lived up to predictions in international tournaments during this entire so-called golden generation era of this Belgian team. So
half the good players from that golden generation are now old, and the other ones are still playing, and they're just not as good because they're old.
But they did just enough. They go out and they smoke a team in the last match, which just does just enough to make you think about, which is what they do. It's what the Belgian team does. As someone who's watched it very closely for many years, it's what they do. So I do think that it's more than likely we're going to get a U.S. versus Belgium rematch in the round of 16, which I would be incredibly excited about.
I would as well.
But
I think the U.S.'s road to the quarterfinal is, I wouldn't say easy. It's not easy by any means. Even Bosnia, I'm not writing them off. I think
they looked really good.
Kid from St. Louis playing for Bosnia, I'm just that narrative is right there.
Right. Well, and wait, St. Louis? I think he's from Wisconsin.
I thought it was Minnesota.
Sorry.
Yeah, Wisconsin.
Sorry.
Close enough. Midwest, all the same. You would know.
Yeah.
But what was I saying? For the U.S. in the quarterfinal, I think getting to the quarterfinal is now a little bit of an expectation. Is that fair to say? I feel like the round of 16 matchup of Senegal or Belgium is not the world beaters that we thought they were, at least for Senegal. They haven't looked their best. But I think and the US beat Senegal in the friendlies, right? So again, I'm not looking past Bosnia. I'm just saying their road, and that would get them to a match more likely than not against Spain. But and then
And
that's
then
where it
we lose
stops.
8-0, and that's perfectly fine with me. If we make it to the quarterfinals against Spain and lose 8-0, perfectly fine with it.
Yeah, I would say 8-0 would probably be a riot. I don't think that's a good. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, now that it's clear what the US have to do and what's in front of it, I think reaching the round of 16 will be like not a success, but I think people will accept that. And if they get knocked out by Senegal or Belgium, I think there'll be a lot of disappointed people. Making the quarterfinal, I think, will be a success now that we know what's in front of the US. Anything past that will be unthinkable, I think, for this US team. And
Yes.
I think that's the fairest way to look into this.
Yep. Absolutely. And also from a National SC side, there's been talks about Pochettino getting the job potentially up until the 2030 World Cup as well, which from a Nashville side, that's very nice because that also means that BJ Callahan is not looked at for the next 4 years of being the U.S. men's coach. So, yeah, like we'll see what happens there.
My least favorite thing about this is that some matchups are happening too early for my liking. And I understand that's how brackets work, and I'm not against it, or I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying, like, I want Brazil Japan to me is a quarterfinal matchup, not a round of 32.
For
Uh,
sure.
but
Especially the
Morocco,
way Japan has been playing like this
right,
entire
and same thing with Morocco, Netherlands, and the last, Austria, Spain. I would like that to be like a round of 16, or Portugal, Croatia. I've seen it so many times, I don't care, but that could have been a round of 16 match or a quarterfinal match. So like these matches happening early is exciting because you get to see that in this round, and also gives opportunity to other teams to Egypt, Australia is not something I had on my round of 32, but now gives one of those teams an opportunity to go to the round of 16, which would be really cool for either of those nations. So yeah, there's a positive and a negative to it, but I think overall I am still really, really excited about this tournament, and I am still super into it. So that's where I'm
Well,
at.
the thing that I think is interesting, just from a cultural aspect here, is like the way that it's set up does align for chances for teams that wouldn't normally make runs to make runs, and which is what you were talking about. But like, there's only ever been 8 countries that have won a World Cup,
Yeah.
and so like, obviously, I like to bring up 1930 a lot because it's fun because people don't know about it. But like, everyone in the U.S. for the last 24 years that follows soccer has talked about how great 2002 was when they made it to the quarterfinals, and that's had like a real like cultural imprint on U.S. soccer. How can they get back to doing that? And the idea that having more teams and also having some bigger matchups, maybe much to the chagrin of some folks, happening in the earlier rounds, means that there will be a country that makes that type of run. Like Morocco is probably going to talk about being in the semifinals of the World Cup for generations. Uh, if they don't win it, that'll be the thing they talk about, and the opportunity that's presented, like it sets like a sort of a cultural marker in a country's soccer history as like a point. And we're going to see several of those set because there's several teams that were in this World Cup that had not been in it or had not been in it for generations, and there are several teams that will be further in the World Cup than they might ever get again. And that is what this does set up for. And I find that very exciting. Like the US will have like a different connotation to some people because of a World Cup run that happened in the US than maybe it did before. And I find that fun and interesting, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out.
Agreed. Agreed. Let's take
Yep.
a look at our predictions for the knockout as well, just to kind of see where we're at them. Clay, when you went through this, just the list specifically, is there anything interesting that
He's
like
shaking
you?
his head, by the way.
I know, but I'm still going to ask him about it anyways. He prepared so well for the percentages, but then
So we did the knockouts for fun. So like my whole thing, because we don't know how the third place matches align, and it throws off so much because of that. So
do
the
we want to
knockout,
redo it?
I mean, if you want to redo it, we can redo it. I'm
No,
fine with that,
no.
but like,
Why not? Just
I'm
build
not-
through them real quick.
We already have our semifinalists. We have our quarterfinalists. We're good. We're good.
But I want to change mine. I think England loses at the Azteca now. I think England loses.
I think Mexico is not going to make it through Ecuador.
Really?
Okay, I don't know if I want to commit to that, to be honest with you. But I think I've circled that matchup because I think it's going to be a bloodbath. And I'm so excited to watch it. I think that match is going to be really good. Ecuador, Mexico. I think it's going to be fun. That's like one of my favorite matches on this round.
All right. Well, so then we'll be confident in our prediction of who do we say is going to win, by the way?
So we said that the final would be Spain and England, which Stephen was real mad about.
I'm still mad about it.
And we said the third place game would be Argentina and Brazil in Miami, which Flair said might be the saddest place on earth. Is exact, like the almost exact wording.
Truth. I'll still take it. Who do we have? France bounce. I'm scared about France now. Now that Dembele is actually playing like Dembele, France is starting to scare me again.
I mean, they're gonna lose to Germany. I have a lot of hot takes. That's what I realize.
Yeah. I'm learning this about you as well.
Guess what? I am back in town. You seem to be back in your town. So we're gonna have plenty of time to look at the round of 16 and the quarterfinals and so on and so forth. But I think in the spirit of the game, because the round of 32 has already started as we're recording, I don't want to. I don't want to redo our predictions.
Yeah. Also, this is gonna expire, and like there will have been 3 games played before
a game kicks off in 50 minutes. So we're just gonna have to move on from this prediction business.
Okay. So I will predict. I'll do a plug-in prediction at the end, and we'll see how we do. But let's take a step back. Let's look at the group stage, not just from a team aspect, but just from a vibe aspect, from a experience aspect. What have been some of your favorite stories, environments, anything from the World Cup so far that has just, I don't know, has just made you happy, or has just been a really cool thing to be able to witness and see?
Yeah, I think for me, it's hard to talk about the World Cup without mentioning Iraq, but like I'm going to try to because I feel like I've talked about Iraq a lot, and you can go to my socials and see that experience. But for me, it's been Capo Verde Capo Verde or Cape Verde in English. Capo Verde. That's the way to say it. There's no E at the end, is what I learned. And they have been the best experience. I think the best sort of value at this World Cup. And I got to cover the team against Spain when they got that historic draw. It was their first World Cup match. They got a point against Spain, which is incredible. And I got to talk to some of their fans afterwards outside Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and they were having a party. They were enjoying themselves. I got to talk to some of the players as well in the mix zone, and they were very excited about it. So just being there, experiencing that with them, being part of that, I have to give it to them. They've been an exciting addition to the World Cup. I'm so excited for them. And then my flight from Atlanta was to Boston that night of the game where they played in Atlanta. And if you don't know, Cape Verde has a huge population in Boston and Rhode Island and all that that entire area. So my entire plane was full of like fans coming back home essentially. And they were very happy and very excited, and just experiencing that was really cool. I know they're playing Argentina and their World Cup is probably done after this, but just the fact that they're here is amazing. And then look, you never know. You never know. Imagine if they knock out Argentina. Just imagine. Just be with me here in this moment. They knock out Argentina. Their next opponent would be Australia or Egypt. We could be looking at a quarterfinalist, Cape Verde. That's what I'm going to be rooting for. Sorry, Argentina fans. I don't really care to see Messi again go through. He already did that once. And it doesn't really benefit me in the Golden Boot draft. So, Cape Verde, all the way.
Now, I'm going to co-sign all of what he said, but what I will say is, even if I had not taken Messi in the Golden Boot draft, but I did, even if I have not, if Argentina does pull it off, it's one of the all-time great performances from an individual, in the history of the world. And that's not to say that Argentina is not a great. Argentina is a very good team. It's not just Messi, but they're a very good team. But I do think, in terms of the importance to the team and the importance to the country, it does. I think that Messi's the greatest player that's ever played. I would have said that, honestly, had they not won the last World Cup, but they did. And I do think that this is something that would echo for, over 100 years, however long the earth is still going to be livable. It would be something that would echo. And so I do, part of me does want to see that. People like to see greatness in some ways. And I think the same could be said for France too. If you've got Mbappe going to another World Cup final, that's crazy. That's crazy if that were to happen again. And so I do think that, I'm normally, the mid-major guy when it comes to sports. And so I want to see upsets. I want to see teams make runs, but there is part of me that is really excited to see how far this Argentina team goes and if they do it again, because that would be incredible. Just incredible.
I mean, they do have looking at their side of it, they have a hop,
Right.
skip, and a jump to the semifinal pretty
Yeah.
much at any instance.
By the
I
way, they have Colombia in the possibly Colombia in the quarters, or Switzerland. And
which would be Colombia would be a great match. I don't know. That's what I
I
think.
know I'm really hoping it's Colombia, Argentina in the quarters, because that was the final of Copa America last year, or 2 years ago, I guess now. And that would be really, really spicy.
So I think, just from an overall perspective, obviously fans coming to the United States and just experiencing this has been incredible. Obviously, all the videos of the Scotland fans have been amazing. The random people discovering ranch for the first time and trying to get it back through security also
American sauce.
has been extremely incredible. And I think the hospitality of Americans as well to these instances and these things has been in some ways, from the community itself, has been really cool to be able to witness. I've also really enjoyed the internal team just implosions this World Cup have been, I don't know, kind of, maybe I'm just dark in that way. Like Tunisia firing their manager after the first match and then hiring Hervé Renard is just so funny to me. Uruguay itself completely imploding as a team where everybody hates everybody and everybody hates the coach and the coach also hates everybody. Also fantastic to witness.
Have
South
Bielsa ever liked anyone?
No,
No.
absolutely me. And I love him, and I think it's hilarious, and it's perfectly fine. He's just my crotchety grandpa that I love. South Koreans literally banning the manager from entering a lot of the restaurants and
They
stores
blurred his face on one of the news reports.
because they're so mad because they expected South Korea to do so much better than they absolutely did. I have randomly enjoyed those. I don't know why. It could be dark for me, but some of those implosions have been just astronomically amazing.
The other big enjoyment for me, by the way, you're not alone. Those have been fun to keep up with. But the one of the most exciting things about the World Cup being in North America is watching the diaspora communities interact with their national team, me being part of those communities.
Mm-hmm.
It gave me the opportunity to watch my national team for the first time ever, right? In Mexico and Monterrey in the playoffs, and then follow through with the World Cup. And I'm not. I mean, I'm not the only Iraqi who had this opportunity to watch their national team for the first time. I know that obviously, but also if you think about Bosnian folks in St. Louis, or like I was talking about the Cabo Verde folks in New England, or even Senegalese people in New York or whatever. All these pockets of diaspora communities exist within the United States and Canada, and some even in Mexico, obviously. And they are getting the opportunity to see their national team in the place they live in, or very close to the place they live in. And I think that's pretty cool to watch and see the stadiums being filled with folks who maybe live in the United States or Canada, but have a connection to these other countries. So that's been cool to monitor as well.
Blair,
It's
were there any was anybody from Iraq? Did you run into
Yeah.
anybody from Iraq that was, because I know you were worried that there wouldn't be people
I
who were
mean,
able to get in.
I would say it's probably less than 5% of the Iraqi fans were from Iraq, coming from Iraq. But I did meet actually a guy from Baghdad who had a very long journey in Philadelphia, and I met him in Philadelphia. Um, and I talked to another guy as well. So yeah, there were a few. I think they were definitely the minority. I think most of the Iraqi fans live in the U.S. or Canada that attended the games.
But I do think that's also one of the cool like not one of the cool things. Obviously, you want more people traveling in, but the fact that it we don't think. I mean, America is called this melting pot, but it's not represented in that way a lot of times. Where I think during the World Cup, it's been nice to have that representation from all these countries in that maybe get overlooked in normal politics, things, etc., where they're able to actually be together in a soccer stadium just with the team that they love.
Um, I just remembered a favorite story that I just want to get out there, because this might be my favorite story in the World Cup, which is obviously we all know about the Scotland stuff in Boston, and how Boston just they want the Patriots to now play a game in Scotland now. Like, it's become this whole thing. But one of my favorite things that I saw was, so the Scots leave Boston after the first two games, and then England comes to Boston, and then England is not welcome. a lot of the English fans were like, "Well, what about us?" on
Well,
Twitter, and I was just like, "Hey, man, you guys aren't nearly as well liked in Massachusetts." Like,
no, definitely not. Completely different.
especially after they just spent a week and a half hearing from Scottish people about the English. Sorry, bro.
Oh, well, it's been a fun tournament. It's been a fun time. I'm actually going to get really sad. I'm going to be really sad when this ends. Like, I'm
Yeah.
going to be sad in July when it ends and we have to go back to club football and start
I'm
talking
not.
about club ball.
I'm not. I'm very excited to talk about this Nashville SC team, but I will say this for anybody like me that did miss the World Cup. By rules, it basically has to be back in the U.S. in 2038 anyway, unless they change the rules, which they could. It's FIFA. So,
I mean, they literally changed the rules for it to be in Saudi Arabia. So, I mean,
yeah. So because 2030 is now in 3 confederations, which they did so that Saudi Arabia could get it in 2034, which
Right.
means that it's Oceania or North America in 2038. Oceania does not. New Zealand has some biggish stadiums, but they don't have the ability to host, really. So that does leave America, where they just made the most money that they've ever made in a World Cup. So if you didn't see them this time, they'll be back in 2038. So
Well, probably not the same players. Yamal will be there. That's
oh, are you kidding me? They'll roll Ronaldo off that field, like,
84-year-old Ronaldo hits the field.
and he'll still want to take the free kick.
Yeah.
oh, and he'll still be selfish in all goal attempts that he tries to have.
Messi's still Golden Boot contender. He'll never
Absolutely.
get.
Absolutely. Luka Modric is still playing out there, which is still insane to me. Man played 90 minutes on when I saw it. Crazy to me. But
You look so weird, like, as a person. This is you can go on. This is just an internal thought that I shouldn't be saying.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Who are you talking about?
Luka
Luka
Modric.
Modric.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Luka
Looks like a
Modric
weird
looks like
individual.
he should be like writing songs in Nashville or something. Like,
it was really weird to yell, like, because I'd be yelling, like, let's go, Luka. Like, I'm not watching the Lakers play, like, watching Luka Doncic play. Like, and so I just started yelling Mudrik.
Yeah, but how many people turn around if you say, let's go,
Wait,
Luka?
this guy just said Modric.
That's
Completely
what I
two
said.
different players. Mudrik doesn't even play for Chelsea anymore.
Well, I said Modric.
No. Steven
Oh.
said Mudrik.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
making
Well,
fun of me.
that's
Yeah.
Steven. I
Because
mean,
he's delivering DoorDash now or whatever.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I heard
Yeah.
about this. That's
He's
right.
not a real player anymore, unfortunately. Chelsea
Oh,
ruined yet another
also,
player.
we
But
forgot to mention, by the way, Alexi Lawless is trash. Go John Obi McKill.
John Obi
Yeah.
Mikel is almost worse than Alexi Lawless, and I just want to let the world know that.
How dare you?
I just want to say that I think a lot of the Alexi Lawless hate is performative. He's not very good, but like there are lots of bad people that do commentating all over the
Also
place.
true.
I disagree.
Shout
There are
out
a lot
Landon
of good
Donovan.
people who do that stuff, and Fox chooses to not put them all there.
No,
Zlatan Ibrahimovic is not the best analyst. Thierry Henry is great.
Thierry Henry
And-
rules.
And I think you'll find people from all fandoms say that. They do have some really good commentators. They have some good analysts. Rebecca Lowe has been great. I just think they could have done better with their selection. But you know what? That's for another day.
Dude,
Let's
Rebecca Lowe deserves a
I-
Pulitzer for navigating these idiots besides Thierry Henry.
I agree. I'm just saying, I think a lot of it is a little bit performative at this
Well,
point.
if you love him so much, why don't you grow your hair and have a soul patch or whatever?
I don't love him. He's the reason Evansville doesn't have a national championship at men's soccer. So settle down.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a
1990
reason to dislike him.
semifinal. I don't
All
love
right.
him.
Plug your stuff, and then who's gonna win? Who moves on from Brazil, Japan? Who does it? We'll call that. That's the prediction.
I think Brazil's going to move on. You can go at Valer Shabila on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and Twitter and Blue Sky and Threads, and that's it, I think. Just look up my name. You'll find me. Please follow along. I'm hoping to go back and cover a little bit more of the knockout rounds in Atlanta. I don't know if that's happening yet. That's why I was checking my phone earlier. Hopefully I'll get some good news there. But either way, I'll still have a lot of World Cup content and 615 Soccer, of course, with me and Ben Wright and all these other fine folks, including these two fine gentlemen next to me. So make sure you're following along. And I think Brazil's going to advance on extra time. 2-1. Boom.
You can follow me at Clay Lassel on Twitter and Instagram. And I just want to say that I think that I'm going to go with Japan just for the hometown thing. And I also want to say that we started this right after I read the Chris Johnson news, and it's a real bummer. So
real bummer.
This is a soccer show, but Valer and I are massive Titans people when it's that time of year. So I just want to say, man, that Chris Johnson news hit me pretty hard this morning. So shout out to Titans, shout out to everyone who grew up watching Chris Johnson.
Yeah, and the video was very touching, the video interview. So yeah, I think it made me reconsider some things, but it's unfortunate to see him in that state. And I was literally thinking about this right before we started recording. Like, I've seen this man like literally go into hundreds of pounds of people and come out on the other end, and seeing him not able to move his body is a real bummer. But we're wishing him the best, hoping the medicine can, they can come up with some new innovative stuff that can really help him, and many others who have the same issues.
Yeah. And then at PHStevenHD for all of my stuff. Also, shout out FIFA as well for, taking the time to do the moments of silence for the Venezuelan earthquakes, because it's terrible. Our own video producer, Joel Maza, was the guy on the ESPN front page wearing the Venezuelan kit and flag. So cool that got noticed and all that type of stuff, because it is tragic and fun to see Joel out there. It's going to go to pens, and Brazil is going to win in pens, I think. Japan looks really good and has been such a fun team to watch. So I really hope they're able to pull something off, but I think Brazil ends up doing it. Thank you again so much for listening to the show. We appreciate it. Obviously, it's weird to have a show that doesn't follow our normal structure. So we just get excited to talk. But I hope you're still listening. I hope you're enjoying. We'll be back. I think we're all home unless I'm gone for the World Cup match on Saturday. So we'll be back next week to talk even more about our predictions, all of our things. And yeah, thank you so much for the time. And we will check you all next week. Have a good rest of your day. Enjoy the World Cup matches to come.